I think it's on. I think. There it is. Hi. We're gonna date all the things in the house. But before that, well, there were a couple things I wanted to talk about. I was supposed to bullet point them, but I forget what they are. Um, New videos on the channel. I was able to work on them a lot since I got my teeth taken out. Doing great, by the way. Um, so Squirrel Stapler is out, and then a little baby video of me watching some TikToks is out. And I did use the old model for those, but I already had the footage. I think there's going to be there's one more episode. It's an episode of Me Side that has that going on. That model still. I have been trying to work on my new model. I didn't record an update last week just because I got busy with everything else and healing and my medicine making me tired. So I did a lot, and I also did a little bit. Yay, my comfort streamer is here. Thank you. Hi, Nick. So working on model, it'll be done when it's done. It's gonna have to just be something that I'm working on passively. I'm very scared of messing it up just because it's going to be something that I'm going to be using for a lot of things, so I want to make sure it's really good, and that takes time. So it probably won't be a weekly update, maybe a once a month update. So I'm thinking mid-July. We'll see. I have a lot of traveling and stuff to do. What else? The Starbucks thing? Oh. Yeah, I recorded it. I made a TikTok. So, how I got fired from Starbucks. That's also in one of my videos. So basically, I didn't really get fired. That was kind of a dramatization. I didn't get fired for anything that I did. I'll say that. Basically, I started working at Starbucks in college because I needed a lot of money to do a lot of things. And, I start working there, and my higher up, my supervisor, is like this girl who's like in a sorority, and she's like very specific about a lot of things. So being trained was rough. And she basically, I didn't get it very fast because I'm an introvert, and talking to people is hard, and making the coffee in the time that people wanted it was hard. But because it was a Starbucks on a college campus, everyone was really patient with me. But she was kind of up my ass about doing better over and over. But she wasn't doing it to any of the, I'll say, lighter skinned coworkers. She was doing that to me, and she was doing that to, there were foreign exchange students from India who also had a darker skin tone. We were the only people that she was fucking with. And by fucking with, I mean like she would put us in front of a line while everyone else got to do really easy like stock up work and like, you know, not upfront interacting with the customers. So I went to like an even higher up, and I was like, hey, this is kind of fucked up. And they're like, all right, we're gonna set up a meeting between you and her and us higher ups in Starbucks. And I was like, this is really fucking scary because I was a young adult, and they were like, we need to have a really serious sit down because this is serious. I was like, oh god. So we get there, she doesn't show up, which is kind of awesome for me because I was like, yeah, it's been just like really uncomfortable. She's been kind of super mean to me. One time I was 4 minutes late, and I was 4 minutes late because my bus driver didn't drop me off in the right area, so I had to like basically run to work, and there was ice, so I didn't want to fucking slip and die. And they're like, well, that sucks, but she's about to graduate, like even if we fired her, like wouldn't make too much of a difference. Well, they didn't offer to fire her. they were like, well, we really don't want to terminate either of you guys, so let's try to find a thing. Like, is there any other areas? They basically were like, can we relocate you because she is good at her job, she just sucks. And we don't really care about that, we care about profits. That's essentially what I was told. Allegedly. Allegedly. But I got moved to be a lunch lady at my university. And it was actually super fun, and I liked it a lot better. There was this older guy who would talk to me a lot about the true meaning of the Bible. I'm not religious personally, but he was interesting. He wasn't that bad of a guy. He was just like, would go on his religious rants, and it'd be like, oh, here he goes again. And yeah, that's the story of how I low-key got relocated from Starbucks after the great racism of 2020, whatever the fuck. It was also during the pandemic, so like, great timing, great timing. Anyways, it's time. Those are my topics, I think. I'm gonna start having a little bullet list so that I can talk about, hi! Hello, Rice! So that I can figure out what to talk about before we play games. But I think that's it. And, yeah. I really want to go for Chance, but I heard that finding the character who he's trying to romance is very difficult. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll look at some new characters that I haven't seen in the beginning first. In the demo when I played. Let me know if the music's too loud. It's a little bit loud on my end. Let me turn it down. Just a little. Alright. Our name will be Zubul. I just watched some Amazing Digital Circus with my partner. Alright, things are really good. I have been healing from my tooth surgery very well, and I can't wait to use straws again. I miss boba, and I can't just spoon boba into my mouth, I guess. Where are we from? We're from Big City. Let's go. Yeah. Oh. Required to jump through hoops when asked? Yeah, okay. Sounds fun. Valdivian. I can't. I love boba. I love boba. It's been a while. The most expensive anime figurine is the gold Grumpla kit, made of solid gold and worth over $200. The price was so insane it froze my computer.
Congratulations. Oh. Your degree in customer service has rewarded you with a remote job at Valdivian.
Yeah!
One of the foremost mega corporations of our times.
Okay.
Though your house may be large, it is empty, and its halls long for visitors. The sticky notes on your bulletin board remind you of your ultimate aims. But for now, it's time to get to work.
Yeah! Can I date the sticky notes? Also, I don't know what he's talking about, my house being empty. It looks very well furnished. Does it look jittery to you guys? Hold on. Let me fuck with some settings real quick. That is way too high. I'm poor. Turn it down. That is way too high. We are solid 1280. Apply that. Let's turn this down just a little. You'll be lurking? We love lurkers. You do that. Oh, concepts! Wait, okay, I won't look at that. Don't look at anything else. No spoilers! Or else I will literally fucking cry.
Valdivianites, happy Tuesday from your favorite Chief Executive Officer, David Most. As you know, every day here at Valdivian is a reason to celebrate, as stipulated in your employment contract.
Period.
Today, however, is extra monumental, as it's the first official day of our new hire.
Zubul!
Please join me in giving them a warm welcome to our team. Out of the 30-ish job applications we didn't immediately burn, yours had the least spelling errors.
Literally.
You're joining us at a very exciting time. And we're
AP
all
English.
For your success.
AP English and AP Lit.
On the plaque above our daycare center, Valdivian, Our business is family. We're so excited to have you joining ours. Coincidentally, the daycare center has been shuttered indefinitely due to the recent economic downturn. We thank our Director of Child Care Coordination, Irene Thomas, for her inspiring work.
Oh. That's crazy. Low-key, I brag more about being in AP English in high school than I do about graduating from college during a pandemic and having to finish my finals in a hospital bed. Because AP English was fun. AP English was the last time I enjoyed reading, I'm gonna be honest. And I wish I still did.
Hi there. You come highly recommended. I've heard great things about your can-do attitude.
I do have a great attitude.
Oh, I can tell.
Yeah.
I'm Tom, your manager.
What?
But you might find it easier to think of me as a leadership principal guidance associate.
Why
I'm
use
not from
many
your
words?
town myself, but I have heard great nice things about that specific locale. Seems like you are a customer success strategist. That's wonderful. You should be proud.
What the fuck does that mean? I am.
Customers deserve success, and in a strategic way. What could be better? Okay, champ. I'll let you get to it.
Okay. Now, Sam.
Hey, you there?
What's up? There she is, the world's best friend.
Oh god, don't start. I know you must be bored.
Any advice for my first date?
Just keep that customer service robot voice on at all times, and no matter
I
how
would
mad
literally
you get, never
rather
give it back to them.
die.
And remember, I might have set you up for this job, but you got it because you deserve it.
Aww.
You literally have a degree in customer service.
Love it. I would literally rather die than work in customer service again. Oh my god. I'm such an introvert. And I worked at a little store that sells toys and whatnots, makeup, during Christmas, when everyone's buying last minute stocking stuffers. If I have a hard time speaking, it's because my jaw is still healing, and it's really hard, and it's just a lot going on back there. But I worked there during Christmas, and there were so many people. And there was a lot of people trying to steal shit. Like, one lady tried to steal a $1 coloring book. It was really sad, actually. Anyways.
That's right. Oh, geez, here comes my manager. I gotta get back to work. Good luck, okay? You got this.
Yeah.
You have new tasks.
Okay. Should I be really good at my job or really bad? I don't know if I have it in me to be bad. Sewing
I
machine.
have a broken sewing machine.
Okay, bitch. Let's just give everyone refunds.
Oh, wow, thanks! You're the best.
Yeah,
Hello, I
yeah.
purchased this book and I'm extremely angry about it. Is there a manager I can speak to?
A refund. A refund. How dare you?
Oops. Everyone's just getting
But I
refunds.
popped it on my kitchen is all wet and covered with wet stuff.
Period. Sorry, here's a refund.
Yay.
I am a science teacher, Pronto Palace High School, Go Harridans, and I ordered this as part of a series in which I give students an element to take care of to learn how to be a good parent.
Okay.
This is not cobalt. It did not respond to normal cobalt stimuli.
Oh. Are you a supervillain?
Why would you ask me that?
Only bad guys buy stuff like elements from a storefront.
Oh, I understand now.
Okay.
But no.
If you're a supervillain, what would your powers be?
I suppose it would be something to do with fire. I've always been quite taken by its properties.
That's cool. If I was a supervillain, I'd be the distractor.
I see.
I'd distract people so we can play games online or something.
This definitely appears to be your path. I will try again later.
Yeah.
Hello.
Dude, this
My
job's
name is
fucking
Emmanuel,
easy.
And I have counted precisely 480 paper clips in this box. I would like a refund promptly. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for noticing. Have a happy day to you and your soul.
I just gave, like, almost everyone a refund. What's up, David?
Valentinites! Salutations from the chatbot that has replaced your CEO, David
Oh.
Post. Just kidding. CEO is an extremely important position, and there is no way a computer could ever replicate the ingenuity, expertise, and warmth I utilize daily to bring leadership to our team and value to our shareholders.
Okay.
Humanity is absolutely integral to the transformative work we do here at Valdivian, and I will defend the essential importance of human contributions.
I've seen lots of
in
people
every
playing this.
single aspect of
It's
this
very
company.
popular right now.
Excluding, of course, the following departments:
I think-
sales, marketing, finance, legal, operations, public relations, communications, product,
Yeah,
research
yeah.
and development. If your department has been affected, however,
Oh.
do not fear. Your new Val 9000 AI assistant, speaking of, please join me in while the Val
Oh.
9000...
We've all been replaced by AI. This game's very popular right now. I played the demo. I played it off stream. And it looks very fun. All the designs are very creative, and I think I'm gonna have a great time.
Champ! Got a quick minute?
Nope, busy.
Oh, no. You probably aren't, Champ.
I'll have you
Thing
know,
is,
I have
Valdivian
1
has done
star.
some really
People really
intensive
like me.
Research. And it looks like Val 9000, the latest iterative AI tech, is going to be taking over your job for the foreseeable future.
Aw, man. Dang.
So I guess we don't necessarily need you around anymore, but we can't exactly let you go without cause. You and I are in something called labor limbo. We'll
Period.
be around until we specifically muck things up.
Okay.
Then they can terminate us with cause. So, no muck. I'm over here doing my best too.
Oh my
Keep
god.
following
Can I
the
clock
leadership
out?
principles, and I'll check in with further updates.
Womp. What's up?
So, are you one of the affected people?
Yeah.
I mean, I knew this was coming soon, but like, didn't expect it today. Sorry for getting you this job and then getting you fired.
Technically.
Oh yeah? That kind of makes sense. In a completely
Technically, you
twisted way,
did.
of course. Well, they're gonna lock you out of here on your computer, so we can't talk here anymore. Are you on Discord?
Discord? Yeah, I signed up.
Well, you do now.
We're
we should talk there more.
besties.
Who
Oh
knows
my
who's
god.
listening to us here. Talk to you later.
Oh. Creepy. Also, doesn't this look like an octopus? I thought this was a little squid. And I thought she just chose it, but it's a little face with 2 thumbs. Anyway. Would you like to leave your computer? Yes! Oh my god. I've been wanting to quit that job since I started. Check my phone. Discord!
Hello. Okay, here goes nothing.
I'm scared.
No need to fear. Hi. I'm just an anonymous hacker sending you a package.
Okay, the hacker sounds kind of
You'll
hot.
receive a
Sorry.
delivery via drone to your front door. Tell absolutely no one it is in your possession. I will return with further instructions when the time is right.
This is exactly how I felt playing Mystic Messenger in middle school and getting a text from 707 thinking, he's gonna take me and sweep me off my feet. Anyways, no, I didn't play Mystic Messenger in middle school and complete all the endings. What are you talking about? Cool, sounds fun.
Perhaps.
Oh my god. Okay, is he coming to my house? Because that's really exciting. Hold on, I need to see him. Oh, shit. Oh, I can open that. No, it's fine. Okay. You're hurting my curtains. Bro. Oh my god, I could have literally just opened the door. Why didn't you? Fuck. Wait, who did? Exactly. What? Am I having a moment? Hold on. Okay. Dude, Dorian's gonna be like, what the fuck are you doing? He's one of the few characters I didn't meet in the demo. There we go. Hey! That wasn't nice, dude. Are you gonna pay for this? Okay. Dorby Loon. That was an experience. The piss glasses. I have a feeling I'm gonna struggle to open every single door in this house.
You're not quite sure how it happened,
Look
but there's
at
a
her.
smiling, pink-haired stranger standing just a few feet away from you.
Personally, she's too peppy and extroverted for me. I feel like if we went on like a date together, we went to a concert, she would like try to talk to people, and that would make me uncomfortable. But she's still very cute.
You don't remember inviting anyone over. You certainly remember inviting someone this cute to your house.
Yeah.
Hey there! Your life is about to change. Hope you're ready.
Shut up! I hate you already. What the fuck? I would like to skip this particular conversation. Should I? Technically, it's our first time playing through, like officially, without the demo. So I'll let her yap.
You know it, but I'm not just any pair of glasses. I'm here to help you out. I'm a pair of Dateator glasses. My name is Skylar Specs.
Okay.
Woohoo!
Super cute, super cute. See, the designs are just so, like, wow. So many sparkles.
My lenses have special properties. They allow you to directly acknowledge a thing's existence. Or date.
Okay, okay.
You see all the things around your house? Things you might have taken for granted?
I have curtains at the front door? That's fancy. That's rich shit.
Now you have the power to get to know them better.
Okay.
A lot better.
Oh.
And I have a feeling, just a silly old little feeling, just a grumpy feeling in my little tum-tum.
What is it?
That it'll help make your life a little bit more richer. And maybe find some love. Love that is all around you.
Okay. Yeah, see, like, this is a lot. Like, she would absolutely do this while we're at dinner or while we're at some places. I don't want to deal with that. She's a good friend, though. So we're going to be chill with her.
In fact, let's go on a date right now.
Oh. Okay.
So, we are going to awaken our
Oh, thank
first
God, it's
little
not her.
object.
Okay. Okay.
Go up to a door. Any door.
Oh, it has to be the
Shoot
door. I'm
some
okay with it
keys
being
at
Dorian.
Yeah. Pew, pew, pew.
You got the date beaters. Okay, I think I'm wearing them right now. Should I go to this fucking broken one? Alright, it's not gonna let me date anything else, so I want to plot it out. I haven't dated the piano. I've seen you. I've seen you. The window? I have not. This earth? Friendzone them? Well, all but one. We have to pick the right one. Who's the right one for us? Or maybe multiple? I don't know if that's an option. Not the records, not that weird little thing. Chair? I don't know what this is. Wine bottles? That would be interesting. Okay. It's literally like everything in the house. This is a game I have been waiting. Okay. Okay, I know she wants us to go to the door, so we're gonna do that. But that chicken thing, we have to find out what it is. We have to. I was
You're
also
still standing in your house.
I'm also really into
Unbelievable amount
Dorian.
of bouncer energy radiating from the tall stranger who's just appeared in front of you would have you believe you're standing outside of a club.
Like, he's sturdy. Sturdy.
No funny business. I don't want to see those spectacles being used for something untoward.
Dude, I'm literally trying to fuck everything in my house. He gives me, I don't know if you've ever seen Ted Lasso. We're trying to love everything in the house. And nothing else. He reminds me of Roy Kent from Ted Lasso. If you ever seen it, very grumpy guy. He gives Shadow the Hedgehog energy. What?
Hey, Dorian. Trust me, this is going to go super well.
Yes, it is.
You sure about that?
I'm looking for love. And
Love?
nothing else.
What a gas. I believe everyone here should be friends.
After awakening an object for the first time, you get to speak with them here. You get to speak with each object once per day.
We get a little knackered by using this newfangled date viator rubbish, you see.
Okay.
Sometimes when you reach a certain level of affection with a dateable object, your relationship status changes.
Jason Statham? Who's that? Now I have to look it up. Hold on. Oh, Bald Man! I didn't know that was his name. From, all the Fast and the Furiouses. He does. I will literally scream if that's actually him. And Megalodon. Yeah!
There are 3 statuses: love, friendship, and hate. Love can get you towards some really special paths for those you are truly interested in.
But it's not necessarily the best of the options in my mind.
Okay.
Dorian is a big defender of friendship.
If everyone were friends, the world would be an awful lot safer, in my opinion.
Okay.
I've seen the complications of love. I've lived through the jealous quarrels of hate. The true bond is one between 2 friends with none of the intricacies of romantic tension.
That's our bouncer Dorian talking, but you can go toward whichever one you like. Even hate, which isn't my fave personally.
You speaking of Reggie?
Ugh,
Who the
don't
fuck
remind
is
me.
Reggie?
Human. you
That's
seem
who I
like a
need to
good sort,
find.
So we'll be friends.
So that the dice will
For
love
now.
me. Dorian!
Friends. As it should be.
Yeah!
Feels good, yeah? But friendship gets you even more than that. I call it specs points. Take a look at this cool personality chart. Number go up.
Okay. Okay. You didn't have to say it like I was an idiot, though. But I get
Each
ya.
dateable object has points to give whenever you achieve an official relationship status with them. Get more of them to be able to choose some more advanced options.
Okay. Voice 5. I want to hear him say it.
Very well.
Okay. Sorry.
You can check out your specs points on your phone, which...
I did all of this in the
Wait,
demo.
We gotta talk to your phone.
Right.
Duty calls, love.
Bye,
Bye,
Dorian.
Dorian. Take out your phone and then shoot my beams while it's out.
No thanks. Okay. It would have been really cool if they had kept that as a little secret.
Shooting you a knowing wink. She turns that megawatt smile your way.
Oh,
and it
she's
feels
so
like the
cute.
sun
I love her
shining
little
only
ear
on
thing
you.
and how she has all the apps on her phone. This is definitely like something that like a black mom who does nails would wear. And I'm living for it. I love her.
There. Ooh, I like it much better up here where I can see your face.
And they did the palm thing for like a lot of and she has a little tattoo on her leg. For a lot of characters who are brown and are portrayed in media, oftentimes they forget that we have lighter hands. So it's really nice to see that detail. There's a lot of details in this game and I really like it and I really appreciate it. And I like looking at it and touching it with my eyeballs. Now my phone is talking.
Your phone? We'll see about that. You gotta win me over first, honey.
Okay.
Of course, to do that, someone's gotta show you how things work.
Let me see.
Hello.
I love her. Oh, the tattoos are cute. I like her little phone, her phone choker.
Hey there. Oh, you must be Skylar. Glad we've got the human on board with the latest tech from Valdivian.
I've been doing a little tutorial with them about how things work.
Oh, well, my sweet human. Lucky for you, I've got a gap in my schedule and a soft spot for that lost puppy look.
Okay, you're literally in my pocket 24/7, but sure, I'm glad you can make time for me. What kind of schedule does a phone have?
All of them. Yours, mine. I stream sometimes for my own socials. And still gotta make sure I don't lose battery or overheat.
Who the fuck would ever stream? Oh my god.
Anyway, I installed some apps on your phone that are only accessible when you put on your glasses. Bring out your phone, put on the glasses, and you'll see some new ones.
Okay.
One of them is an app Skylar made called the Data Dex.
It's my way to keep track of all sorts of fun info about us dateable objects.
Is the toilet a dateable? Wait.
Plus, there are a lot of us around this house.
Oh my god. The soap? Does the soap have a hole in it? The soap? The mirrors?
Ooh, you know what? Maggie the Magnifying Glass also just dropped a really cool app.
The guy from that one animated movie that we would watch every Halloween, Monster House, he wasn't so crazy now, was he? Now look at all of you. You're a bunch of followers. We're all trying to love everything in the home. Maggie?
Oh, gotta run! Another call coming in!
Okay.
Bye, Phoenicia!
How much more do we have?
You have to meet 2 more of us. You're getting there.
I think next is the magnifying glass in the
Now,
bed.
Go awaken the magnifying glass in the living room.
Which of course is conveniently located on its own little shelf next to the piano.
I love it, but I am very excited to get this intro part over with. But only 2 more characters, so let's go. Let's do this. Space.
There's a distinct air of mystery to the private eye that stands before you. She
All right.
reminds you of the old detective serials your parents used to watch.
My parents are divorced, so thanks for lying. Anyways, there's a distinct air of mystery. She's so cute. I love her. I love it when they give a red hair character a lot of teal, because those colors really look nice and appealing to me. And I think her glasses are the cutest. I love her. The rest is kind of plain, but I guess there's only so much you can do with a fucking magnifying glass. She is wearing like the detective coat. Very cute.
She gives
Love
you a
it.
scrutinizing glare through her magnifying glass, one eye comically enlarged. It's especially goofy looking to see it on someone with glasses.
Well, well, well. What have we here?
This game must have taken so much effort. Oh my god.
Aha!
Maggie!
I think I've seen a description for someone wearing just such a fantastic red shirt.
Oh. Who told her?
You're not a suspect, are you?
Who told this woman what I'm wearing? No. No.
A witness, then. Just as I thought. Maggie, it's our humans' first day talking with us. Go a little easy on them.
Okay.
Interesting. These glasses come in from the outside and are already trying to influence my case? Trust me, this human has a lot of potential to make this house a better place.
I'll do my best, but no guarantees.
Truthful. Regardless, as you are the human, I should give you a way to track down all the suspects yourself to keep you on my side. Hopefully. I call this feature Rumors. It's installed on your phone.
Okay.
Ooh, that tickles.
What the fuck did you do to my phone, Maggie?
Unlike Skylar's Datadex that gives you the lowdown on those you've already met, Rumors tracks clues you've been given to locate all the pesky, hidden objects that are tricky to find.
Okay.
It's good for rounding up suspects, tracking down evidence, and getting a sense of the household scuttlebutt.
Scuttlebutt. Cool, can't wait to find all of you.
It'll be tough, but worth it.
Okay.
The more you find, the better your specs will be. Take a look at Rumors in your phone. It'll help you find your way to your last dateable for today. Good luck, Gumshoe. It's getting late. Who should be the last one we talk to before I run out of charges? Oh, check out that rumor Maggie gave you if you need ideas. Wink, wink.
Okay. So can I pick whoever now? Aw, and it gives you, like, the latest. And it gives you their likes and dislikes. Cute. Okay. Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Lots going on there. Maggie thinks you should talk to your bed next. Dorian mentioned someone named Reggie. Mysterious hacker. Okay. Tinfoil hat. Tinfoil hat. They want me to talk to the bed. Trash can, trash can. I'm just like so... Literally like everything here. I'm very interested in... Why are each of them like a different thing? Hold on. Wait. Okay, I need to... Oh my god, even the food in the fridge? Okay. We're about to have a good time with some bagels. Let's go to bed.
Standing here in your bedroom, you're struck by the realization that it's been entirely too long since you had anyone near your bed who wasn't, well, you.
Chat, she wants me. She wants me for real.
How strange, then, that the beauty standing before you feels so familiar, even though you're certain you've never seen her in your life. She's all curves and comfort, a soft body and softer facial features that seem to invite one closer subconsciously. She's positively enchanting.
Hey there, stranger.
Oh my god. She wants me. Oh, hi. My partner just brought me dinner. It is chicken and broccoli and rice. And I'ma eat it. I have to eat all the rice first. Cause it's hard. Alright, let me rearrange some things first. Oh! Let me rearrange my desk. I just cleaned it. It's very nice right now. So. There we go. Alright. Why do I feel like I know you?
Because you do. I'm Betty, and I'm your bed.
Betty! Betty!
We've been sleeping together so many years, it would be a little weird if you didn't know me, don't you think?
Dude. I've been alone longer than I don't care, I want to skip. I feel like I definitely remember sleeping with someone as pretty as you.
I've been here for it all.
Cringe!
But we can make some new memories from here on. It's a shame for someone as cute as you to be alone for so long.
What the fuck? Okay.
Will you be bringing someone back here anytime soon?
I don't know. I don't know. I hope so.
Don't you worry. a strong feeling that'll be changing soon. Oh, by the way, Skylar told me everything. But don't you worry, I might be here now, but you can still sleep in your bed just like you always do. You can choose to talk to me or not. But I do hope you'll come talk to me. It'd be nice to finally get to know each other.
It would. I'd love to.
Oh, how lovely. Come back soon then, cutie.
Kicking my legs.
Well, anyway, I'll be here. See you tonight. See you then.
Sorry, I'm late. I took a look at rumors and got caught up in some real head scratchers.
Me too. Who the fuck is Reggie?
We can talk about it later. For now, let's go to sleep. Today, I kept you on a tight schedule, but tomorrow is a brand new day, and you can truly experience your new powers to your heart's content.
Okay.
Oh, hitting the hay already? Come get comfortable then. Good night.
Let me in.
See you tomorrow.
Okay. I'm going straight to the fridge, bro. I don't even care. Oh. Okay, the doors? Who do I go for? Are they different?
Good morning.
Ah!
Start getting to know everyone around here better.
Dude.
Maybe finally find some love.
There's a steak in there. I'm trying to marinate, if you know what I mean. Who said that? Who said that? Anyways. Why?
Glad you asked. I was sent to you for a reason. A well, mysterious reason.
From the tinfoil hat hacker.
Exactly. Since there's no one else here you could ask about it, I'd recommend doing the only thing you can do, and date.
Let's do it!
Any other questions?
No, go away. That's it. That's it,
That might be it for this
please.
little Date Theaters tutorial.
Skylar, you're wonderful, but there's a piece of meat in that fridge I
A whole
need
lot more than we ever imagined. Pretty soon.
to talk to. Ooh. Thank you for the follow. Hold on. Wait. Something's wrong. Something's supposed to go on the screen when that happens, and it didn't. It's okay. I'll do something special for you. Ready? Happy Pride. Yeah, there's supposed to be a thing that goes on my screen, and it didn't. Sorry about that. Well, thanks for the follow. Okay, I'm ready.
Let's date.
The meat section. Is that Jello? I don't want Jello. I want... Where is it? Pizza! Okay. Hold on. The glasses are on. Pizza. Let's go. Let's do it.
The first word that comes to mind as you evaluate the strange figure standing before you is delicious. You don't even intend to be salacious. It's just, he looks edible.
I don't know if I can fuck with a man who has actual ramen in his hair, but also could I?
His long blonde hair calls to mind ramen noodles, but his entire outfit is a culinary journey around the globe. He looks downright mouth-watering, but you're not sure the feeling is mutual. His expression suggests he's less than impressed with you.
Oh, is he like an artisan?
Good evening.
What's up?
Do have a seat. I'll be with you in just a minute.
Is he a waiter? Are his pants chocolate? Looks like you're really enjoying that glass of wine.
Glass of wine? Surely you can do better than that.
What? Don't give me sass. Sorry, I'm eating my rice. Oh my god.
This fine white has a light body and is rather dry.
He looks like a rotten waffle. Loki, I think it's supposed to be a pie. Is his notepad a sandwich? His notepad is breads. That's really cute.
It's quite acidic.
Okay.
I can virtually taste its origins in the eastern Loire Valley. Dare I guess, just outside.
Did I
Chamonix?
pick the most pretentious motherfucker in the house immediately?
And as its taste matures on my tongue, I detect notes of honeydew, grapefruit, and peach. And a certain minerality. Flint. Gray salt.
What is gray salt? Personally, I like a rosé or a Riesling. Thank you! Why is the howl still going? What is happening? I'm scared. There's supposed to be something on the screen, but since there's not, I do this for you. Happy Pride, welcome to the stream. I'm personally a rosé fan, so I'm gonna make you look stupid. Ramen head.
Oh, rosé. Do I look like I'm eating barbecued prawns?
Yeah.
But where are my manners? Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Mitchell Lynn, food critic extraordinaire.
Okay.
Paragon of the perfect, advocate of the adventurous, and bane of the banal.
Hello. This guy sucks. I don't like him.
Salutations.
Michelin? Oh, I just got it. I just barely got it. It's funny. It's good. Have you heard of Soylent? I'm really into Soylent lately.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that.
I don't get it. I should look that up.
Listen, I'm afraid you caught me in a bit of a hurry. 3 new spots have just opened up around the house.
What does that mean?
I'm eager to give them a try and see if they measure up to my exacting standards.
Oh, he's talking about food. He's talking about food places to eat and whatnot.
How would you like to accompany me?
Yeah, okay.
Brilliant.
Wait, did I just agree to a date?
Should we
Fuck.
go?
Fuck.
There's a new Hawaiian fusion place in the living room.
What?
Daisuke's sushi spot in the dining room is supposed to be pretty swanky.
Daisuke?
Freddy Yeti has an ice cream joint in the kitchen that's worth checking out.
Sushi. I don't like all sushi. I
Mitchell
like
leads
crab.
you to the dining room.
Is what it
He
is.
seems excited.
I want to know
How
who
about as
Daisuke
excited
is.
as a critic like
as
Mitchell
well.
can be about a new place.
I've heard only good things about Daisuke's place so far.
Okay, let's not fuck this up, because we could at least be friends. We could at least be like chill with him, right?
Let's hope it lives up to expectation.
You walk into a rather austere space, every element seemingly selected for its clean and unpretentious elegance. The counters are of raw pine, finished to a glossy luster.
Bro, why are we... I bought this place! Why are we
The
surprised?
walls are shoji-style screens, and the doors slide open with a soft hiss that seems engineered to bring you entirely into your sophisticated surroundings.
Okay.
A water feature drips delightfully in the background. You feel instantaneously relaxed and intrigued.
Bro, this is a place I bought. Why, I guess, was it pre-furnished? This is all very
The
surprising.
owner now.
Okay. Daisuke! Who are you?
Daisuke greets you both with a warm smile.
Welcome to Omakase Daisuke. I am pleased to see you both.
Thank you, Scout. Hi. Welcome, welcome. We're gonna do another one. I don't know why. I don't know why it's not working. I swear I set it up, but I'm okay with doing my little werewolf thing every time someone follows. Hi. Welcome. We're dating the
Always
things.
Nice to see you, Daisuke.
I thought he was going to be a pizza, and I'm
It's
kind
obvious
of
you
disappointed.
put a lot of work into this endeavor.
Thank you, Mitchell. I've only done what anyone would in my place. The dishware deserves no less than maximum effort.
Ow! Where's that howling come from? Hold on. My cousin escaped. I think that's just what
Decor
happens.
and ambiance please you.
No, there it is! Hi! Welcome! Thank you for the follow. There's another one here. Wow, 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 wow. Thank you for following. If you're here from TikTok, hi. I'm dating, I think, a pizza pie sandwich guy that I don't want to be on a date with right now.
My mind isn't quite made up yet.
I think it's exquisite.
You do? Seems rather dull to me.
You're a bitch. It's intentional.
Understated, you say? Let me take a closer look.
Thank you for the follow. Bam. Are you Rising Sun? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Who's your favorite dateable? Right now, it's gotta be Chance. It's gotta be the dice. But I have no idea who Reggie is, so I don't want to go for him, because last time I went... During the demo, I went for him, and then I didn't talk to Reggie, and he got all sad. So, this is my first time doing a real playthrough of it. Take a closer look. Now I'm talking to Mitchell, and I thought he would be a cool pizza guy or girl or someone in between, but he wasn't. Instead, he's a pretentious jerk that I am now on a date with, even though I don't really want to be. And we're just trying to get it done. Daisuke's very cool though. He seems very chill. Everything has been selected and arranged in order to draw one's full attention to the sushi.
Why, you're absolutely right. I thought at first it was lazy and weak decor.
Chance was my first romance, and as a D&D nerd, dice pog. Period. I have these dice that have little frogs in them. They're very cute. They're like little plastic froggies, and their eyes are little black things. But I love Chance. I love D&D, and I think on a separate occasion I will look up a tutorial, but I don't want to look up anything and get spoilers right now. So Chance is gonna wait until after my first playthrough. But I do love him still. Lazy and weak! Everyone's been talking about how he's voiced by Matt Mercer. Apparently there's a lot of cool voice actors. So if you see one and you're like, hey, it's that guy, shout it out, because I have no idea. I'm very bad at it. I know Cat Noir is in here, and I know Ladybug's in here. Those are probably the only two I'm gonna recognize, if I find them.
Mitchell continues on, as though he's not heard Daisuke.
But look around you. Perfectly clean, lighting muted, but warm.
Dang, now I'm so invested. I love D&D. Maybe I'll do a Baldur's Gate stream one day and we can all chill. Who knows? But haven't played in a while.
This wood shows the signs of a master carpenter. These chairs have been selected with painstaking care.
I got everything from IKEA, but thank you.
And as I listen, I detect the subtle dripping of water from a waterfall pond.
That's the sink I haven't fixed.
That is only Sinclair's chronic drip. But I thank you all the same.
I feel almost as if I'd been transported to the Tsukibayashi Jiro. Delightful, simply delightful. Let's move on to your speciality, Daisuke.
Am I like making them two date?
The settings.
I love Sorcerer. I'm a Sorcerer player. I love Magic because like I want to play Magic in the Magic game, you know? But I want to try a more physical one. Rogue. See, I can't do that. I'm really bad. My partner loves playing Rogue though. I'm really bad at sneaking and also patience. So I wouldn't be good at that.
Before we begin, I am obligated to tell you that Scandalabra's stories about the silver are damaging lies and not to be believed.
Sorry, hold on. J. Michael Tatum? I'm really bad at names. Let me look him up. Oh, Black Butler, and not Kyoya. Fuck, what's his name from Oran High School? I know him. Is basically what I'm trying to say in the point. I know him, and also, yeah, I know him. I see. Druid! I have a friend who loves playing Druid. Every time he...
Leave the Scandelabra. I'd sooner let Sinclair process an insurance claim for me.
I have a friend who loves playing Druid, and every time he makes a Druid character, he names them after a vegetable. It's very funny.
I'm glad we are all in agreement there.
Now let's have a look. We appear to be missing chopsticks.
Why is that, Daisuke? Oh, let's pretend to be experts, actually. Chopsticks are brought out after the first course. Fuck! Wait! Sushi is not eaten with the hands. I don't remember. I don't know what the answer is. I'm choosing this one. I'm wrong!
This is untrue. The answer is much simpler. Traditionally, sushi is eaten with the hands.
What? Okay. I'm gonna go and buy some chicken. You have fun and also be safe. And I hope that you season it well and it's not dry when you cook it. Have fun. Or if you're buying it ready-made, I hope it doesn't make you sick.
But if you wish, I can bring you some.
Yes, please!
All right, let's get down to business. I'm starving.
Yes!
As the name suggests, we offer only omakase.
I can't wait to see what's in store for us. Okay, now, when the first course comes,
Okay.
let's...
I did not know that sushi is traditionally eaten with the hands. That's a very cool fact. Give ourselves... Eat it right away, as soon as it's delivered.
Yes, you really
Yeah.
know sushi etiquette.
Okay, so I don't know a whole lot about Japanese culture, but I know in a lot of Asian cultures generally, eating immediately and like kind of loudly is not necessarily rude as it's perceived here. I use Discord, but I don't have a server. I'm gonna think about it. I'll use either. Red or Loon is fine. I was like, who would want to join a Discord I'd make? Since I'm just starting out, but maybe one day.
Here you are. Please enjoy.
Daisuke places a dish before you containing what must be the most hideous, clumsy nigiri you've ever seen in your life.
Is he not good at it? Oh, he looks horrified. You join? Well, then I will think about it in the next coming weeks. I would have to get mods situated and figure out how I'm gonna format it. But I'll definitely put it as something I'll work on.
The fish is misshapen, and the rice seems to be falling apart.
What are we looking at, Daisuke?
Is it not obvious? This is eel.
I see.
Ew. Wait! Okay. Sorry, I just got hit with a strike of genius. So we're gonna need to take a break. Because I think I know how to fix the following thing. We're gonna take a small break. And I'm going to put on something wonderful for you guys. And it's gonna be great. I will not be able to use the sound, but it's okay. Now, let's see if I can fix this. There you go. Alright, everyone look at the spinning fish just for a little bit. I think I know how to fix this. That keyboard sounds donkey. It's a personally made one. It's actually the same friend who plays Druid all the time that made me this keyboard for my birthday. It's Magical Girl themed, so it has like Sailor Moon on it. It has Sailor Moon and Cardcaptor Sakura, and I love it. Yes, stare at the fish while I fix my life. Not connected. So you know how I just said, oh, like I understood? I didn't. Fake it till you make it. Look at the fish. It's making me think Animal Crossing. Okay, so this is on now. Are you on? Let's test it. Okay, so I see. I see what the problem is. Okay, sorry this is taking a minute. Let me... Oh, and also you guys are gone. Chat isn't even on the screen. Listen, it is not one of my streams if something doesn't break. And I figured out what it is. I thought everything was going to be okay. Where even are you? Oh, there they are. Oh. So you know how I thought everything was broken? It wasn't. I just turned it off because I don't know. Yeah, you saw my you saw the disgusting animatronic inside of my streams. Oh god. Oh god. Yeah, now it's fixed. And now chat's on screen and everything's great and everything's fixed and I'm really actually kind of sad that didn't work earlier. I spent hours setting that up. It's fine. So, the fish is gonna go away. Say goodbye. And back to the game. Back to the game. Wow. Don't you love it when everything goes right all the time and nothing bad happened just then? Eel! Ooh, I do hate eel. I can't do an eel, I'm sorry.
Glad to know your take. I'll present my own opinions in the review.
He's a food critic.
Now that we've eaten, I think it's time to go.
The worst kind. But fish? The fish will be back. Something will break. Don't worry. Oh my god. That was like the worst date I've been on. It's not even like... I don't know. He was just mean. Love? There's a remote. Coffee table with a little stain on it. Couch. Fireplace. Wood. 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 Windows. Okay, wait. Okay. I wanted this. And if this doesn't go well, I'll actually cry. How many of you unlocked? So, before I start that. So that one was the newest one I did. I've met Mateo. So before this, that was the first one I've met in this playthrough. The last one was when I was just trying out the demo and I was like, oh my god, I've been waiting since 2022 for this game. I'm so excited. So I did the Blanket Mateo. I did Kurt and Rod. They were very funny. Dorian, obviously. Avian Glasses. Sexy Dice Block. And... oh, I did the books. They were very cool. Very cool, very neat. I think that's it. Yeah. I mean, Maggie. Oh, I did the controller. I did Luna. She was cute. Very cute. I loved her. Very pretty. I'm so excited. Me too. There's so much. They put so much into this game. How exciting. This one. I wanted the chicken.
A burly chef
oh
stands
my
in the
god.
kitchen, looking at you expectantly as he stirs a sauce pot. Despite his intimidating stature, there's warmth in the depths of his dark eyes.
This is everything. The grill's on his arm. You found half the characters? That's incredible. I was working a lot on editing and recovering from having my teeth removed from my mouth. So I haven't gotten a chance to play this until now, really, except for the demo. And I'm very excited. I'm very happy to be hanging out with you guys and playing.
You must be my new sous chef.
I know this voice. Hold on. Wait. Speak more, man.
I'm Stefan. Hey.
Wait, is he like the whole grill? I thought he was also the chicken. That's so funny. What are your pronouns? I use they, them. It's okay if you use she, her. I don't really mind. I'm just definitely not a he, him. You know, that might be confusing, but just want to let you know, no hard feelings if you get it wrong. I use they, them in like my real day-to-day life, usually, but... Love you, Stefan. Thank you for asking. Aww. Love his hands. He's cool. The Grinch? Hold on. We need to hear more. We need more information for our ears. That gave me a lot. Thank you.
Stefan regards you in silence for a few long moments.
Okay.
Then why are you here?
Oh!
An adorable chicken-shaped timer slides into the conversation, settling on Stefan's shoulder.
Is it his pet? That's so cute! What? I love it! Good, that's so cute.
You're right, Mr. Cluckles. I could stand to be nicer.
Look at the burns in like his hair. That's really creative. Ooh, I like that. This is so cool.
He takes a deep breath, steadying himself, then points dramatically at you.
I really love that his like little beanie that he's wearing isn't really like, it's literally just an oven mitt he put on his head. Like they didn't redesign it to be a beanie because that wouldn't be kitchen like now, would it? It's just an oven mitt.
You, what are you doing in my kitchen?
This is my kitchen.
This is my kitchen.
This is my kitchen. I pay like $14,000 a month for this to be my kitchen.
You must have me confused for someone who thinks this kind of thing is funny.
You must be confused. Wait, I fucked it up. You must have me confused for someone who doesn't pay the fucking rent here.
I'm busy. I've got a whole lot of folks to feed, and unless you are here to help, I need you to step out of... Wait. Do you smell that?
Just your bad attitude.
Oh, how dare you. Yes. I'm preheated. I know. Thank you, Mr. Cluckles. Always keeping me on track.
Bro, Mr. Cluckles is his anger management coach.
Like some humans who come in my kitchen just to distract me.
Ooh. Aw, it's a little chicken timer.
That little chicken timer offers more help than you can imagine.
I bet.
He understands the type of establishment I'm trying to run around here.
I would love to have an emotional support chicken. I love chickens. Speaking of chicken, there's a new story on my channel. Not story, video. But I talk about, I grew up on a ranch. And I talk about how my grandpa would have us, would prep the chickens. I'll say. And you should go watch it if you want to laugh. Or if you want to just listen while you draw or put away your laundry or something. I don't know. That's what I like to do. Personally, I like a lot of true crime while I'm doing things. Or Class of 09. The first one, not the foot one. I would play Class of 09, but I was literally obsessed with it when it came out, and it's too late now. Like, it won't be a new thing. Yeah, like, every reaction I'd have to it would be like, yeah, I remember that line. I've heard it over and over again. That's because the first couple games were good, and then they started talking about feet and being weird, and I don't think I can play another Class of 09 game. But anyways, what are you even talking about?
Food. Glorious food. Much more important than whatever little quest you happen to be on right now.
Also, fuck, I just realized we reached our follower goal. We're at 30. Holy shit. That meter, I had it turned off. That's why I didn't realize. But we reached it. We're at 30 followers. That's so, wow. I have a thing for this. Hold on. Yeah. 300 followers. Not 300. 300 on TikTok, not here. 30 here, and a little over 300, a little more over 300 on TikTok now, which is incredible. Thank you so much. If you're here from TikTok, hi, glad to have you. If you're here from YouTube, glad to have you. If you're just here because you like this game, that's cool. And I'll play more of it now and stop yapping. This guy is really rude. Of course he did.
And they didn't know a crate from a grape, so I couldn't give a damn about what they say.
I'm like low-key gravitating towards the toxic men, and I blame my upbringing. Wait, I know a crate from a drape. Does that count?
Go on, shoot. Okay, Mr. Cluckles, all prep should be done in 7.5 minutes.
It happened! Yeah! Thank you. Hi, Ninja.
Start the timer. And go!
Okay. I have a love-hate relationship with him. I love that the little chicken is his little guy, and I love that this is his fucking hat. And I think that's really cute. But I'm not a fan of how, like, they're not all one thing. Oh. Wait. Hold on. That's so funny. That's hilarious. God, there's so many choices. Oh, I also saw the cat. I did in fact see the cat. Was this, let me know if I'm right, was this Cat Noir's voice actor? I forget what his name is because I'm really bad at names. Because if so, that's really funny that they just have him being cats in different shows or different mediums. Can we get a lady in here? Can we get fruit? No, let's not do like anything food related. Let's get out of the kitchen. How about that? Let's go upstairs. Let's go upstairs. I crouched? Why would I need to crouch? Wait. No. No. Let's not talk to Dorian. Workout material. There's like so much in this game. I'm very bad at opening doors, so hope you're ready for that. Toilet? Of course, of course. Oh. Let's turn that off. That's a cute noise. Makeup? My bedroom? This house has like a cute layout. Okay, I'm scanning the area. I'm trying to decide. Teddy bear. Oh. I'm not... Okay. Relax, buddy. Not that serious. Can I... Sorry, I almost said... can I, be friends with the power box? Trying to, like... So... I'm bisexual. I don't really... And even then, I've never really, like, cared about gender or anything. I think he is. His name is Bryce Pappenbook. I know him as Eren Yeager. He's also Eren Yeager! That's right! Yes, I heard that he's... What's this? That's mysterious. I might do that next. Jesus. I heard that he's in, like, everything. So, it's not surprising to hear that he's in this. They got, like, a lot of really prominent voice actors. I forgot what I was gonna talk about, so let's go talk to the mysterious bag now. Let's do this.
The stranger standing before you is dressed in
Thank you for the follow, Robbo.
black catsuit,
Hi.
studded black
What is this?
fur trim, and a variety of brightly colored accessories drape their shoulders and frame their delicate features.
Oh my god, that's what it is. Hi, Mary Doggo. Oh my god, Hi, you came so you came during I did? Is this like Oh my god. I thought the bed was like really the worst. Hi, welcome. We're about to talk to my octopus.
Loneliness has been such a defining factor in your existence over the last few years, you've almost forgotten what it's like to be around others. You've certainly forgotten what it's like to be around someone like this. You almost feel as if you've stepped into a sex shop.
Okay, but I'm obsessed with the cuffs. Like, the fashion.
Oh, I'm getting a reading. It's a secret feature.
What secret feature? He has beads. Oh, sorry. They have beads. They have beads on the necklace, and they're in a line. My innocence. Tell me, what's up?
It's called Content Aware. It goes off whenever I have the feeling that something a little off-kilter might happen.
What does that mean?
It gives you the chance to see if this dateable might be someone you might want to skip due to content concerns.
They're voiced by Erika Ishii. I'm gonna look that person up right now because am I allowed to show this on Twitch? I'm not getting paid for this. Erika Ishii. Let's do a safe little search. American voice actor. Valkyrie in Apex. And Sailor Moon? Who was she? They. Okay, they're non-binary. Dude, Christina Yi is also in, like, everything. I had no idea that she was Sailor Mars. Okay. Yeah, they got a lot of, like, heavy hitters in this game. Guys, I'm gonna leave it to you. Do we talk to this? Do we talk to this person, or do we move on? I don't know if this is safe for Twitch. I don't understand what that means. Forget about it. You're safe. You're safe. I'm trusting you. Putting my trust in you. I'm not interested in that.
No problem. Carry on.
Get out!
There you are. I was beginning to think you'd forgotten me.
Oh god. It's just explicit. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Everyone, hold hands and hold your cross or whatever object you have to keep you safe. What was your name again?
They shake their head and sigh quietly.
I'm Benoit, your partner in pleasure.
Stop! Okay, crazy. Also, your fucking thighs are so muscular you have to drop the routine. Is bro an octopus? Yeah! Yeah. Oh, you're...
What many call sex toys, yes. I prefer to call myself your ruin.
Ah!
It's really about time you
Splatoon type shit.
Given the way we met, someone less confident than me might really take it personally.
Oh my god.
They look at you expectantly, raising an eyebrow.
You do remember the way we met, don't you?
Weren't you a gag gift?
The words gag gift make their cool expression crack for just a moment.
Ah, yes. There it is. Gag gift.
They look absolutely disgusted.
The only way to strip the word gag of all its appeal. Some friend of yours thought they were hilarious. You moved into this house and your friend brought you a big box. You opened it up to find... what else? A smaller box. You opened that to find another small box. And so on and so forth. So funny.
Oh.
Eventually, you got to the smallest box, and there I was.
Yeah.
A bright-eyed virgin, yours for the taking. But there's still time to rectify that.
No! It's not even like...
After all, you're here, I'm here, and I know you have nothing but time.
No!
Me and you and mind-bending, earth-shattering pleasure.
Why is the... No! Maybe we could just cuddle and get to know each other instead.
Oh, well, that does sound sweet. Come here, then.
Okay. I need to be purified. That was sick! Wow. Okay, wait. What does this say?
Hey,
What's up?
How's things in labor limbo?
I
You been
just went
using
on
all
a
that
date with
extra
my
time to
sex
do
toy.
anything
Thanks for
fun?
asking. My life got a lot weirder.
How?
I got this weird gift in the mail.
What, just out of nowhere? So what was it?
Glasses.
Like what?
They can turn into any object into a person, sort of.
Huh? I know you've been watching too much anime. What do you mean?
That's not all though.
What else is there?
I'm getting to know them.
You understand how insane you sound right now, right? Like, if you were literally anyone else, I'd be like, oh,
What would be
this
the
person
first-
thinks I'm stupid.
So
You
many
serious?
people with
You're
these
not
glasses
fucking
would
with me?
immediately grab their anime figures, dude. What would I do? Let me look around. I don't have anything that I'd... Oh, wait. I have a Cypher plushie? My friend made a plushie of Cypher, and his little hat comes off. I play a lot of Valorant normally, by the way. Every once in a while, I like to do a dating sim. But normally, these are Valorant streams. And I have a cute little Cypher crocheted plush that my friend made me. And it's very cute. They're Foxbun on TikTok. If you're interested in, I don't know, in seeing crochet stuff. But anyways, I had to put him back. Maybe that, but Teddy Bear is a sweetheart. I think I'm gonna go for that next. That's actually exactly what I was thinking. So we're like this. You can't see, but my little fingers are crossed. I'm not fucking with you.
Just
I'm 1000% serious.
What do you mean? Like, how? What? You seriously have magic date furniture fuck glasses?
Yes. They're called date theaters.
Date theaters? This
Yeah.
is too much. I'm not equipped to process this today. I'm logging off. Goodbye.
Okay, I'm gonna go date more things. Alright, Teddy Bear was in the closet with the sports. Sorry. I bumped into the door and he fucking did the... Sorry! Okay, Teddy Bear.
There's something so intensely familiar about the cuddly stranger standing in your closet.
Oh, he's kind of messed up though, because he's an old teddy. If I've had him since I was a kid, this is kind of weird. But if I haven't, it's not.
The combination of his massive stature and the soft materials he wears produces an almost irresistible urge to hug him. And the aura of safety he emanates certainly doesn't help.
Well, well, well. Aren't you a sight for sore eyes?
Papa? Who are you? Oh, Teddy. Yeah, okay. I didn't know his name was actually Teddy. I thought you guys were just shortening Teddy Bear. But that, yeah. The little tag on his pants, that's such a cute detail. They add details that most people wouldn't think about. Tedward.
I bet you say that to everybody.
Well, I'm kind to everybody.
Aww.
Well, almost everybody. I try to be kind as much as I can, but sometimes considerate is the best I can do. Kindness is not a bottomless well, you know. Some people can't receive it when you offer it.
Some people's hearts aren't healed.
I think of kindness kind of like really good peanut butter.
Aww, I don't eat peanut butter. It makes me sick.
For people who like peanut butter, who savor it, who appreciate and enjoy it, I give them a lot of it because I get it back and boy, it feels good. But for people who don't like peanut butter, who scrape it off or who don't even notice when they've gotten a big, thick layer of it on their Sammy, why give them more of what they don't want?
Period.
No hard feelings, you see. But if you don't like peanut butter, it's okay. I got jelly too.
Aww, that's good advice. I need that tattooed on my forehead. Well, load me up.
Well, that's wonderful. You know, it's been a little while since we talked. There's probably a whole lot of kindness waiting for you around here. Tell me, what brought you around to see me?
I missed you. I missed you. Is it weird that we're talking in a closet? I feel like that's better. I don't want him to think I forgot about him.
Not for me, anyway. Closets are some of my favorite rooms in a house.
Why?
Get a good cozy blanket, a candle, and close that door and you've got a perfect little cocoon. A little nest of peace and safety.
Low key, when I was a kid, I would make nests in a closet with like a lot of pillows and stuff, and it was very cozy. I thought it was just because I'm autistic, but I don't know. Maybe that's comforting for a lot more people than I thought.
You're welcome to share mine, or we can sit on the bed and talk. I'm comfortable in either place, and no matter where I am, I'll always be happy to be with you.
Aww. Everyone with father issues just like had parts of their childhood healed.
I'll leave it up to you. Where should I go?
With me, always. How about on the dresser?
Closer to you? I love it.
I actually did that too. I used to play video games. Yeah. Tedward's so cute.
So now that we're all comfy,
oh,
I've got a good bit of wisdom.
What's up? Hit me with it.
Being that it's daylight out, I got some advice to give you. For me, it's advice in the daytime, stories at night. Want to hear some advice?
Yeah.
So, you know how you don't like to burp in public?
Well, I don't know. Burping's kind of awesome. I want to do it everywhere.
And nobody likes to fart in public.
That I will not do. Is that advice?
But sometimes those things happen.
Right.
The trick is to get everyone who's around you when it happens to be on your side.
Crazy, but okay.
And one of the best ways to create a good team is through humor. So, you will burp. And when you do, own it. And with a big smile on your face, say, "Oh my goodness! Did anyone else hear that big barking spider?"
That's silly. I think I can do that. I think I can.
And now, for the big enchilada. When you fart in public. Oof. You gotta own that too.
I bet he was reading these lines like, I gotta do this for the people.
Look
they gotta
boldly,
know.
Bravely, and say,
"Ah, I punched my mic."
The dog did it.
Yeah! I don't have a dog. The dog did it.
Whoa! Did you let one out just now?
No.
I'm kidding, buddy.
Oh, I loved him. Is he actually on my counter now? Or not my counter, my dresser? Wait, I have to go look. Where's my bed? Ah! I don't know why he did that. Oh, that was so sweet. Oh, there. Dresser? Yeah, there he is. I love that. It's nighttime. We have just one more. Let me, take these off and check this closet. Coat hangers and boxes. Okay. I'm not sure what I'm looking for. I'm just kind of going with whatever. I think maybe the tub or the duck. Since I'm up here. I've explored a lot of downstairs when I was playing the demo. So I think the duck will be our last thing for the day. I think tomorrow I want to come to Teddy at night for a story because he's so sweet. I love him. Even if I just want to be friends, but he's very cool. I really like Mateo, so I might. But let's check this one out and see what this has to offer.
A very yellow punk dressed in studded leather glares at you. Their
Chica, you're not
duck-like
slick.
appearance does nothing to diminish the aura of absolute disdain that radiates from them.
Just like me, for real.
Who the duck are you?
Oh! The way that they did the shoes are so good. Who the duck are you?
I asked first.
I asked second.
Then I'll ask third. Like this is a ducking competition.
I'll ask fourth.
Who the duck are you, jerkwad?
I'm one of the two of us who lives here legally.
The bathroom?
Yeah, right there on that tile in that corner.
You ducking serious?
Just playing the game, ducky.
I only ever see you sitting and scrolling.
Oh,
or
no!
standing with a dead blank expression on your ugly mug.
She ate me up. Or they. I don't know yet.
Boring. And ducking disrespectful of yours truly, don't you think? Now get out, ducking poser.
Your tail. The flipping off. I'd rather not. The knife does!
I'd rather you did. Out!
Rebel does not like us. Alright. So we made an enemy, and that's something. Where the hell is my bedroom? Oh, there it is. Get in. I like that the curtains close for me. It's another cat clock. I bet it's the cat clock. I don't want to talk to him. Are these decorations? Okay. Triangle, some books. Hold on. That box could be anything. Any of these things could be anything. Towels. Okay. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. Game plan, game plan. I'm gonna talk to this just because it's new and I wanna know what it is. And then I'm gonna go downstairs and talk to Mateo. I think what I remember from the demo is that I had to talk to Kurt and Rod after that. And then maybe we'll... So that's like 3 of them. So then we have 1 more. I'll use that to explore someone else just to like see what's going on. And then the last one, I will talk to Teddy so that we can get our story. Because I like Teddy. He's very soothing to listen to. Alright, let's do this.
It takes you just a moment to properly evaluate
Mabel
the figure
from
standing before
Gravity
you. Her
Falls?
hair
Or
and
like...
clothing are such a jumble of various holiday decorations, it throws you.
Okay. I love holidays. I don't celebrate every holiday, but the ones I do celebrate, Halloween, Christmas, I'm not religious. I just love giving presents and opening boxes. I love Valentine's Day. I love day after Valentine's Day when everything's cheaper. I just love holidays. So this means a lot to me. And I love her.
What time of year is it again? Have you truly been locked in your house for so long that time has lost all meaning?
Is this not like low-key how everyone drew Mabel from Gravity Falls for a little while?
She is adorable, though. And her energetic greeting shocks you right out of your quiet contemplation.
She looks, yeah.
Hey, boss! You've caught me at a bad time. Heading to work. Well, the other work. Or is it the other work?
What day is it anyway?
Oh, so cute. Where have I heard your voice?
Oh, what's up? What do you need?
The Cinco de Mayo right there is it's very funny, very cute. Just wanted to introduce myself.
And I to you. So many things and so little time. Makes you want to cry.
Oh, she's stressed.
That was bad. I'm Holly, by the way.
Holly! Holly Day?
Hi!
Oh. I love your dead little skeleton that's just hanging off your shoulder just 'cause. I love it. Oh, is her little jacket made of a cardboard box?
Oh, and who are you? Did you already say?
Zubul!
Little rish rash rush for the dish dash dash. Rat race, all that.
I'm Zubul. I own the house, no big deal.
I've heard about you. That is such a funny name.
From who?
From everyone. I'm social butter, so they say.
Social butterfly?
Oh, that makes more sense. Anywho, I'm so sorry, but I'm already running late. Love to chat more, though. I'm working a double, then opening, closing tomorrow, but swing by first thing in the morning?
Okay.
That's when I'm usually able to sleep. That work?
Sure.
Great.
I don't mind talking to Holly again.
Okay.
Very cute.
Bye!
I love that. I love that. Okay, what's part 2 of the plan? I forget. Part 2 of the plan. I think it's downstairs. And we're talking to Mateo, and then we have to talk to Curtin Rod. And then a new guy. Right. I see it. Yeah.
Davy!
Oh, he's so cute. Okay.
Davy! Come on, Davy. What'd you get off to now?
Oh, I love him.
Davy? I hope he's all right.
What's going on?
Oh, hey! I'm sorry, I didn't even see you. I hope you haven't been here too long. I'm Mateo. Mateo Manta. Oh, Blanket.
He looks like he would be great to take naps with, and that's something that I feel I need.
I've just been so focused on finding Davy. This is the second time he's wandered off this week. I'm starting to get really worried.
Who's Davy?
Davy's one of my rescues, a young knit bull that I found trapped in the office a few months ago.
I love that.
You wouldn't happen to have seen him around, would you?
What's he look like?
He's about an inch tall, hand-dyed, fingering weight, even though he acts like he's worsted, and it's always getting him into trouble. I just keep thinking about him all tangled up somewhere again, trapped and alone.
He absolutely looks like a boy who would crochet too. Can you imagine a little guy who can crochet you things? Make you little blankets and hats and what's nots?
He was in pretty rough shape when I found him the first time.
Or knit.
No telling how long he'd been there. He was so frayed I wasn't sure if I'd be able to put him back together.
Oh, poor thing.
Yeah, but he's a fighter. He really hung in there. After a few weeks, he bounced right back and was running around with the rest of the tassel hounds.
But you said he keeps going missing.
Yeah, it's become a pretty regular thing with him. He gets on great with the other tassel hounds, and he seems pretty trusting despite what he's been through. But for some reason, he just wanders off whenever you're not looking. It's almost like he waits until I've got my threads full with something else, and then he disappears for a few days.
A small creature that looks rather like a black cat rubs up against Mateo's leg, meowing for his attention.
Speaking of handfuls... Aw, don't worry, Sprite. It's not your fault Davy ran
love
off,
Sprite.
I promise.
I
We'll
love
be
the
back
little
soon,
collar.
okay?
Being the ROIB cables. You don't use those anymore. It's crazy.
He bends down to pick up the small creature.
Oh, okay. Feisty.
Yeah, she's got a big personality.
Is there a way I could make it auto go?
This is Sprite, one of the first animals I ever rescued. Yeah, sweet girl. Been together a long time now, huh? Long enough for you to know better than to go messing with Curtain Rod. Oh, really? I guess the bottom of those curtains just tore themselves up then, huh?
Yeah, keep playing it, so we're definitely buying it.
She'll
We're
get
not.
you every time.
7 years mandatory
who can
prison.
Stay mad at that little face.
My partner's been showing me TikToks of this girl who, like, a bunch of people will bring food to an event and, like, show it on a different TikTok, so she'll do edit and she'll say what she thinks, but she'll say it in a way that's like 10 years 10 years solitary confinement for you and your prosecutor. Next. It's very funny. I highly recommend watching those, but I don't know why I started thinking about that. Anyways. Ew. Her nose is a little button. I belong to her now.
You're in good company.
Can I pet? Is she friendly?
American court hares are pretty affectionate, but she's a little, well, picky.
I don't want to touch her.
If you want to try to pet her, just hold your hand out and let her sniff you. If she headbutts you, then you're safe. If she just stares at you, though...
Okay. I'll take it. I'll take the chance.
All right, go ahead.
Kitty!
You hold out your hand to Sprite, waiting with bated breath for her reaction.
Okay. Guys, I might end stream in 20
It's okay,
minutes.
sweetheart. I've got you.
I'll end this day first. I'll end this day, and then I might do another stream next week. But I've had a lot of fun so far, and having a good time playing this game. It's just been a few hours.
Better luck next time.
I wanna play Valorant off stream, make some videos. So, but I am having a very good time. I love the demo for this game. They gave you so much for just like the free demo, and I'm having a great time so far.
You, should probably step back a little bit just to be safe. Well, I'll be hearing about it from Curtain Rod later once they notice the bottom of the curtains are ripped, I'm sure. Honestly, I think she's just acting out because she's upset about Davy.
Okay.
I was really hoping I'd be able to find them before it got too late. There's still a few more places I haven't checked, but I need to get back to the rescue. Things can really start to, unravel if I stay away for too long.
Is there anything I can do?
Oh, that's kind of you to offer, but I'll figure something out. I'm sure you've got other things to worry about.
Really, it's no trouble.
Are you sure? Davy's my responsibility. It's my fault he's missing. I really should have been watching him more closely.
Yeah, lighten up on yourself.
The inanimals depend on me. I can't afford to be careless. It just doesn't feel right, asking someone else to fix my mistake.
You're not very good at accepting help.
Guilty. I guess I'm just used to being the one helping, not the other way around. And I can't be in both places at once. Alright, if you're really up for it, I do have something you could do.
Hit me.
I put together some information on Davy to give to Phoenicia, just in case he didn't come back tonight. I was going to ask her if she'd make a post on Facebook about him and get the word out.
Oh, okay, I have to talk to Phoenicia. I talked to Curtain Rod instead in the last, when I was playing the demo. Whoops.
But I haven't had a chance to talk to her yet since I was chasing down this little troublemaker instead. Do you think you could talk to her for me? I can give you the packet I made. It's got everything she'll need.
You got it. Anything you need. I've got a soft spot for
Really?
strays.
Me too, obviously.
Listen, I'm like a closet animal person. I don't have any animals of my own, but whenever I have to look after my friends or like my families, I become like the biggest animal nerd. I'm texting Jordan. Jordan's my animal activist friend who is studying to be a veterinarian for a while, so anytime I have questions, I ask them. And I had to watch my family dog for a few days. And I was asking Jordan, I was like, Jordan, can I put broth in there to make sure that her food's, because she's an older dog, to make sure that her food's soft enough for her to gump down? And Jordan's like, oh my god, yes, but make sure it's this and this. So I'm like a closeted animal person. I think I would never get a dog or a cat just because high maintenance. I don't think I could do it. I think I would rather get a lizard. By high maintenance, I mean it's a lot of physical activity, and I'm not so good on that, but I can clean out a cage frequently, you know? And, like, take them out, make sure they get sun, and are peeling well. I would much rather get a bearded dragon. One day. One day!
Betty keeps joking that I'm going to run out of space for them all.
Betty? Aw. You got a big heart. I'm sure they're grateful to have you. I would love a beardy.
I don't know about all that. I'm nothing special. It's just the right thing to do.
Aw, he's so humble. I love his hair. I love white hair. It's cool. I've had, my sister had a beardy, and I took care of it while she was, away at school. And I loved her. I loved that beardy. I don't know if I'd get a fancy one or a regular one or one of a cool color. I would much rather just get a rescue if I potentially can, because juveniles are very hard to raise, and rather give a lizard who doesn't really have a stable home a good home, you know? But we'll see what the future holds. I've always wanted a ball python. Ooh, they're very sweet, I've heard. They're very cuddly.
When something needs help, well, you don't give up on it. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk your ear off there.
Reptiles are just cool.
Once I get started talking about them, it's hard to stop. If you're interested, you could always come by the rescue later and we could talk more.
Okay. I'd love that.
Great.
I cannot fumble this.
Anyway, thanks for offering to help.
Alright. Now, we talk to Phoenicia. Hold on. Workspace?
Valdivianites! It's me, your CEO, David Reginald Most.
Okay.
I'm writing to you from the awe-inspiring beige pavilion at the historic Cottonwood Hotel just moments after stepping off the stage at the Valdefest keynote. Let me tell you, the room felt positively electric. And not just because of the incredibly dangerous grounding issues we discovered in the speaker system.
Ooh.
No, tonight, our consumers, employees, and shareholders were absolutely buzzing at the launch of Valdivian's newest initiative. Bigger than a self-driving stroller. More revolutionary than Peninsula.com. Tonight, we unveiled to the world our strategic partnership with the U.S. government's Department of Overseas Violence. While the specifics of this groundbreaking collaboration remain on a need-to-know basis, I'm looking at you, Erwin, in product development. We are confident this partnership between the world's most exciting corporation and the most deadly military on Earth will absolutely thrill, inspire, and delight Valdivian superfans the world over.
Are we gonna have to, like, fight the government?
Produce, or even just attended this year's keynote. Please find me at the after party so I can thank you personally. I'll be parked all night next to the Virgin Mojito Bar between the fax machine and the crawfish buffet. Semper Fi!
Okay, Phoenicia!
Ooh, coming in hot. What you got for me this time?
Am I that predictable?
Affectionately? Yes, and then some, honey.
Oh, man.
Now, come on. I'm dying to know the sitch. You've got those urgency eyes.
Okay.
So, what's the deal?
It's Mateo.
An animal emergency? Ah, honey, why didn't you open with that? Close the in trouble. What do we need? How can I help? Give me answers.
I love you, Phoenicia. Here's what you need to do.
Phoenicia's fingers are flying across her virtual keyboard before you've completed your thought.
Okay.
Already typing something up as we speak. Did Mateo give you any helpful info I can put in here? Anything eye-grabbing? We need some cute buzzwords to get things attention.
Yeah, whole packet. You got.
Perfect. Leave it to me, honey. Missing in animals are no joke. We'll get this baby home.
Yes.
I'm gonna do a live to generate some engagement for the post. I'll let you know how it goes. Check in with Mateo to let him know. I don't think he checks socials very often.
Okay. Data decks. Okay. He's so cute. Snuggles, cuddles, and nuzzles. Dislikes anxiety. Me too. Oh, they have their voice by names. That's really neat. Oh, he just makes me so comforted. I don't know. I hated this bitch. Stefan was funny. Okay. Stefan was funny. I low-key have like fought with half the motherfuckers I've met. Alright. I think the person we're gonna have to talk to again is Mateo. So this is good for the story. Let him know. Oh, I try again tomorrow. Okay. So now let's find a random object then. I was crouched that entire time. Really? I'm trying to figure out who the fuck Reggie is. He's not the refrigerator, is he? I'm gonna check the refrigerator, but let me... Laundry hamper. I've heard funny things about the laundry hamper, so maybe we'll do that. Don't really know. Vacuum, boxes, boxes, boxes. Reg, refrigerator, Oh. Okay, well, let's do this. I think this and Teddy, and then we're gonna end stream.
Normally, when you aim your date viators at an object, you see one personality only. But this time, there are two.
Hello. All right.
And they're so engrossed in an hideous argument, they don't even notice you've arrived.
I love the skirt, man.
One is dressed in woven straw, with clothing in a basket on her back, and a shock of red hair that runs down it. The other is only just visible under a messy mop of dark hair and a pile of dirty clothes he's draped all over his body.
Do you think I'm stupid? You think I can't see what's going on right in front of me?
Fuck, who is this?
I never said you were stupid, but I am starting to think you're insane.
If I'm insane, it's because you make me that way.
Yeah? Without me in your life, you'd be real fucking normal, huh?
Oh.
Like you don't cling to literally anyone in your life the same way.
They're really fucking mean.
I wouldn't have to cling if you would just stay where I can see you.
I am here literally every day. I can't have a minute to myself.
Is this a bad time? This is giving me flashbacks to my parents' divorce.
Both of them whirl around to face you, their expressions changing immediately.
Oh, hi. I'm sorry you had to hear that, but please don't worry, it's fine.
She sounds like, Hi, Mr. Bob! Welcome! These two are very toxic for each other. She sounds like, Fruits Basket. She sounds like Toru, kinda. I don't think it's Toru's voice actor, but that's who she sounds like. I just saw your TikTok of dating everything in your house. Oh, hi! Yay! Thanks for dropping by. We're actually gonna be ending it soon, but I'll be uploading little shorts of this because it has been very funny. We talked to the teddy bear, and we're gonna talk to him again. But right now we're talking to the dirty laundry.
Yeah, just fine.
The energy in the room may have dampened, but there's still a thick tension.
They kind of hate each other right now. You don't have to pretend to be okay.
We're not pretending. We're just as strong as ever.
Yeah, strong.
Oh dear, we haven't even introduced ourselves. Though, Durkee and I know you well.
Please don't call me that in front of other people.
You're so cute when you get assertive, Durkee.
What the fuck?
Anyway, I'm Harper, and I'm your laundry hamper.
Hi. Dirty laundry.
I'm Dirk, and I'm your dirty laundry.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't seem very thrilled about that.
He is a very dirty boy, isn't he?
What the fuck?
Harper.
Harper stomps on Dirk's foot, beaming all the while. Dirk grunts, but says nothing.
Anyway, that's us.
You could sound a little happier when introducing us, Durkee.
Oh.
Do I not seem happy?
He looks at you, stone-faced.
Every minute with Harper is a non-stop party.
Harper's smile grows strained.
Well, someone around here's got to try to put a happy face on things. Durkee broods all the time like he's fucking Batman. What? No. You know, the baseball-themed superhero who patrols the stadium of Baseball City.
Kinda weird
Oh.
you've never heard of him.
Oh shit, sorry, I'm uninformed.
Don't be rude, Durkee.
I'm not. It's just surprising.
Not everybody keeps their nose in a comic book like you do.
Well, not everybody needs the level of escapism I do.
There's an awkward silence, and then...
Low-key, would I be their third?
You
I'd
know,
be okay
because
with
they're
that.
not dating the laundry hamper equivalent of a bamboo finger trap.
Harper is silent for a very long time, but you can feel another argument coming. Just as she opens her mouth, you speak first.
You too, honey.
Come see us again sometime.
The look in Dirk's eyes seems a bit desperate, as if he's silently pleading with you to return. You can hear Harper and Dirk's raised voices long after you leave the room.
Wow. It sounds like my parents divorcing in here. Oops, I left my fridge open. Anyways. Last one. We gotta use it on Teddy. Give us a story. Give us a good story to end stream with, Teddy. Please.
Oh,
Teddy!
this one. This is the biggie, buddy. It's a good one.
Can't wait.
The Great Constructing of Beaver Proudtail.
Did they give each of them, like, background music? Because that's really cool. Teddy scares Bob? Who's Bob?
It was very early in the morning, one cold and foggy day, a very long time ago.
Oh. He's so sweet, though. I thought Bob was a thing in the game. I was like, what are you talking
Young
about?
Beaver Proudtail was walking quietly and efficiently through the dugout tunnels of his den, his trusty stick tucked confidently under one arm.
It's alright.
It was at this time every morning that the young beaver made his rounds through the whole den where his colony lived, and then up and out the riverbank where the world he knew, the world he vigilantly protected, met the strangeness of outside.
Aww.
His large tail balanced him expertly as he climbed the long entrance tunnel to the surface, occasionally using his dignified stick in an undignified manner to scramble up the pathway. As he heaved himself out onto the bank of the river, Beaver's attentiveness grew even more acute. It was dangerous to be
This is
outside
making me
alone.
genuinely tired.
The great war with the colony across the river had been going on for as long as he could remember.
I
And a
remember.
fair bit of time beyond that.
I remember when I used to read books that would have like the gold spine. That's so cute. I miss those books.
It seemed like there had always been the war, He couldn't remember any outright battles or even any scrappy skirmishes. But
The
they were
amount
definitely
of
at war.
artistic detail in
was
this
sure of
game is incredible.
For a moment, he almost asked himself what the war was even about. But he forgot to finish the question. He was very young, after all, and what did it matter? The colony was on the other side of the river, and beavers didn't even cross rivers.
I thought beavers could swim. Can beavers not swim?
He smartly tucked
I
his
thought they
stick
were
back under his
semi-aquatic.
arm and began his patrol.
Like platyply.
So many steps this way, a scrutinizing scan, and so many steps back.
Uh-huh.
But today, something was different. On the other bank of the river, through the fog, he heard the distinctive sounds of battle. "On guard, ye scum-footed knave," the voice cried. "Defy me at your peril." The sounds of the wood clanging against wood echoed through the fog. Hey-ya! Pow! Bing, bang, boom!
I think that if I ever become rich and famous, I'm going to pay someone to just read me stories as I go to sleep, because this is kind of nice. Nice voices.
Thank you.
Audiobooks. Literally genius. Like, I don't have to pay someone. I could just buy audiobooks.
"Who goes there?" shouted Beaver, his heart in his little throat. As an answer, he heard a young and high-pitched yelp. "Ah! My name is Builder. Hi? Hi."
You should be a voice
It
actor.
was all Beaver could manage. He was talking to another creature, a stranger, and a stranger from across the river at that. How many times had the colony council, the denizen, warned him about the dangers of this? It was strictly against the rules.
Oh,
And Beaver had always followed the rules.
not this time.
"Hi!" The voice came careening back across the water. "What's your name?"
I hope this guy in real life has kids, because they're gonna have some awesome stories.
Beaver heaved a deep breath. Whoever this builder was, Beaver was not going to be shown less brave than he.
Hold on. Let me get under
"I'm
my
Beaver.
blanket.
Beaver Proudtail."
I fell asleep on stream.
Well, hello, Beaver Patton. Builder Jumpfoot's my name. I'm playing at war. Want to join me?
"I most certainly do not," cried Beaver. "Playing at war? War is serious business, not for playing. My colony is in a war right now, and I'm going to be a general when I grow up. I'm going to win that war. You'll see."
Oh, gosh.
sighed Builder.
I sure hope you do. My colony is in a war
Do you guys
too.
remember
and
popcorn
I'm so
reading?
tired of it. That's why I made it a game. Games are so much less boring than warring all the time.
Bye, Bob. Have a good day. We're almost done. I think.
Pieces began rapidly whirling around in Beaver's mind. Builder's colony.
I am listening to this whole thing, so if you feel like I don't really want to
Right
watch this whole
across
thing,
the
that's okay,
river.
because we're gonna
He
end right
realized
after
he was
this.
talking to a beaver from the colony across the river, his sworn enemy since birth.
I'm having a very good time listening to Teddy. So,
Just then, the wind blew a gentle clearing in the fog, and the two young beavers saw each other for the first time. They could have been twins. Bright black eyes, thick tails, strong sticks, embellished with their colony colors. Builder's face broke into a broad grin.
You look just like me!
Scoffed Beaver. I'd say you look just like me. Builder laughed. The two regarded each other in amazement for another moment. It was the first time either of them had seen a denizen from the other colony. Builder leaned down and hefted up a perfect pebble from the riverside. Not too big, not too small. He tossed it up. With perfect timing, he swung his stick easily, and Beaver heard it crack as it met the pebble in midair and sent it winging across the water. Instinctively, Beaver reached out and caught it in his paw. Now he was accepting contraband? What would his parents say?
Now I kind of wish that I had waited until nighttime to start streaming this, because this is just so cozy and I really feel like taking a nap. Probably that's not a good idea.
But, upon inspection, the pebble was quite beautiful. It had a single bold red stripe around it, and it was wet from the riverside mud. His young mind decided that he would keep it. He would keep it a secret, of course, and that was all right.
Aww.
The denizen didn't have to know everything. The clearing and the fog began to fill with thickened air. He looked up, suddenly anxious to lose his new friend.
If you heard that noise come from my throat.
Friend? Huh. How quickly
it was the dog.
Happened.
I love you, Teddy. You're so cool. Get you a well-deserved nap. You too. I hope everyone has a nice... when you hit that like REM sleep that's like buttery and you wake up and you actually feel refreshed and not like groggy, that's something that I feel all of you deserve. And you should get that one day.
And there Builder was, smiling and waving. Maybe we'll play together again soon, he offered. Beaver gripped the pebble and nodded. Yes. Yes, maybe. One day. And then Builder was lost. Beaver finished his patrol and took his new experience, his pebble, and his smartly tucked stick back down to the colony. How you doing, buddy? Need a break?
I'm in. This is fun. Is he gonna read the whole book? I might actually pass out if he does that. I don't want to say I'm bored though, because that might make him sad.
Since that morning when Beaver Proud,
I'm gonna let him read the whole thing.
All grown up, marched through the tunnels of his colony toward his audience with the denizen.
I don't even know like what's going on with the story. There's wars going on and whatnot, but his voice is just so comforting. And I'm laying in my chair with my blanket and I'm hanging out with you guys. It's a great time.
Today was the day he'd been anticipating his whole life. Today, he would be made an under general of the colony, and he'd finally have the chance to present his machine.
Huh.
See, the machine he envisioned was a daring one. He was prepared for pushback and doubt from the council. The longest, in particular. The longest had been the leader of the denizens for most of his life, and she was not always interested in things new or unfamiliar. Beaver's machine was both. But he believed in it, and he was determined to persevere. He rapped on the denizen chamber door. Knock, knock. Enter! He took a deep breath and pushed. My goodness, Beaver, sighed the longest, brows knitted. This machine is quite an undertaking, and you won't even tell us what it does. Yes, ma'am, Beaver nodded. It must be kept a secret, for now, but I promise it will conclusively end this war.
Oh my god.
The longest...
Wait. I need a blanket. I need to grab one from the blanket store. Excellent. Okay, we're set.
Considered. Normally, I would say no. Unfamiliar can be dangerous, and outright new, well. She stroked her silver-gray whiskers. The other council members watched her reverently. But we have all seen the construction beginning on the other side of the river. We have no way of knowing what they're up to, and it would be irresponsible of us to take no action at all. They're doing something. We must do something too. And...
Oh, I skipped it. No!
He is our newest under-general, after all.
General.
She winked in his direction. If He believes his machine will truly and finally tip the balance of the Great War in our favor.
The Lord!
The silence was agonizing. Beaver kept his eyes fixed on the wall just behind her head, patient. His paw unconsciously turned and returned a small pebble in his pocket, caressing along the line of a single great red stripe.
If this were real, and like I were actually having a wonderful large teddy bear man reading things for me, I would absolutely have him read Wattpad fanfiction, and I'm not sorry for that. I would have him read so much self-insert, and what would it be? Thanks for asking, I'll tell you. It would probably be it would probably be some Zuko. It would probably be some Link from Legend of Zelda. And who else? I don't know. I don't really have, maybe Kyo from Fruits Basket, but I feel like that's like kind of old. So all these shows are kind of old, but
Then permission is granted. Beaver let go the breath he had been holding. Whew. Begin construction as soon as you are able, Under General. And good luck. She smiled warmly. But the burden of her long years of leadership showed through her sagging cheeks. We will be watching.
Is she gonna die?
Beaver smartly
This is a
untucked
long
and
story.
retucked his stick, slapped his tail once against the packed ground in assent. Yes, ma'am.
This is a very long
Longest.
picture book.
I'll begin right away. He turned on his heel and marched out of the chamber. It was the first day of summer. It was going to be a long and exciting season. At first, the build crews the longest had placed under his command were reticent.
Hold on. How? Oh, his face is so funny right now. Might hear my crisp keyboard for a second. I don't know how long it is.
What are we building? They would complain. What does it do? When Beaver said nothing and admonished them to follow instructions, their eyes flickered nervously to the building across the river.
I don't know. I don't know how long it is. I might have to skip through this at the next opportunity. Because I'm getting real tired.
Maybe it's something to help us fish the river, Corinth Blue Eye speculated. Did you hear? Denny Strongpaw almost got swept away yesterday.
You're
And
too
his whole
soothing,
crew.
Teddy. You need to go lay down.
He did. But Denny's the strongest fisher we have. Shelby Tunneler sighed. Ah, this river. It's so fast. Yes, yes, retorted Madden Sharptooth. Sometimes the
gonna
longest
skip
would
through
come
it.
to check on
I'm
the
sorry.
casting
I
a
know the
critical eye
lore.
over every
But I'm so
but
tired.
as the sump machine, whatever it was taking shape and its scale.
I passed out.
The crews began comparing
Oh,
their
he doesn't give a
machine
fuck.
to the. They pushed and prodded about who would finish.
I'm sorry, Teddy.
Would come the reply. Days
This
were
is
marked
very
now
long,
by
though.
Hawk Beaver, said the longest as she held. But the season, Beaver's paw found the lucky. How you doing, buddy? Need a break?
Yes. I'm bored. I'm sorry.
Hey, no need for that.
I know that was mean.
You can leave if you like, and come back at the place we left off.
Yes. I will be back. That sounds good, actually.
Okay. See you next time.
Oh. My phone.
Impressive news out of Valfest. Really too bad that particular partnership is about to hit a rough patch. But then David's never been great at partnerships.
Okay.
I see you've had the opportunity to test out the prototype.
Yeah. You can see me?
I have remote access. Allows me to analyze the back-end system data.
Oh no, he's gonna
Would you
see
think
some
that I
terrible
just
things.
hand over absolute control of a device this powerful?
Whoa, chill out.
I'm sorry, that was rash.
Yeah.
I'm enormously grateful to you for concealing the prototype. And I'm sorry I dropped all this on you so unexpectedly.
You should be.
I know
I'm
protecting
doing
it
a
is
lot
not
for
a
you.
responsibility you asked for. Maybe not even a responsibility you want.
Oh, not
but
that
I had
part.
no other choice. Every other Valdivian employee's allegiance was unknowable, except you.
I don't. Why me?
Because you're paid the least out of everyone.
Oh. Wait, seriously?
I can't get into that right now. Anyway, it's not safe to talk. I will return when the signal is secure.
Okay. That's enough of that. What else? Workspace. Probably more from this motherfucker. Okay.
Valdivian time!
Oh, he's fucked up.
Yo, it's your boy, David Most. Coming to you live from the best virgin mojito bar ever. Like, this stuff for real is legit so good. I've had like 12 and I feel amazing. Can't believe there's not any alcohol in it. JH19. Hey, did you guys see how dope that presentation was?
What the fuck?
We rocked that! Like, people keep saying we're at dire financial straps and need urgent restructuring. Even my dad was like, you're gonna get smoked by your top competitor, Bitewave. Dead ass. I'm like, okay, Dad. If
So
you
when
like
he's
Bitewave
drunk, he
so much,
becomes a
why
Gen
not
Zer.
to marry them? But does Bitewave have a contract with the U.S. government? No.
Oh my god, he's dropping
I just wanna say
lore.
I love you guys, but not Franklin. Don't love or miss Franklin at all. You hear me, Franklin?
Period.
Night, nerds.
Oh my god, I love it when the boss talks to me as if I'm one of his friends. Oh my god. Wonderful, wonderful. Alright. To bed. Okay. Let us find a way to save. I haven't saved once. Holy shit, we've done so much. New save, new save. Right? Yeah. 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 Okay, guys. Well, that is the end of stream. Thank you so much for your story. That's the end of the stream. This game is so cute. It's so fun. I've literally been waiting to play it since 2022, and I'm an entirely different person and thing while I was waiting for that, and it's just so cool to finally see it and to have enjoyed it with you guys on stream for the first time, technically, after the demo. But next episode we'll talk to Mateo, and we'll make him fall in love with us because he has no choice. And we might listen to more of the story from Teddy. I don't know. Thank you so much for helping me reach my goal, and I hope you have a good day, and make sure you drink water because it's hot out. And that's it. Bye everyone! I'm waving, you can't see.